Hello everyone, it's teacher Yolanda here. Welcome to our session 35. For this session we're going to be using our students book, workbook, art notebook and our content areas notebook. So please go and get them. Let's open our students book and workbook at pages 114 and 115. The title is Oceans and Seas. Number 1 says, read and write the names of the oceans on the map above. Let's read the text. Oceans are large areas of salty water, which cover about 70% of Earth's surface. They contain more than 90% of Earth's water. There are 5 oceans. The smallest is the Arctic Ocean, around the North Pole. The biggest is the Pacific Ocean, between Asia and Australia, and North and South America. The Atlantic Ocean lies between West Africa, Europe, and North and South America. The Indian Ocean borders East Africa, South Asia, Western Australia, and Antarctica. Finally, there is the Southern Ocean, which is around Antarctica. We call the smaller areas of salty water seas. Some seas, like the Caribbean Sea or the North Sea, are part of an ocean. Other seas, like the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea or the Black Sea, have small waterways that connect them with an ocean. There are also seas that have no connection with oceans at all, like the Dead Sea, the Caspian Sea, the Sea of Azov, and the Aral Sea. So, after looking at that, it's time to write the names. All of the names are around here. We have to write the names of the oceans and also the names of the seas. Please do it and we'll check in a few minutes. Okay, so these are the answers of the first exercise. Again, between America and Asia and Australia, we have the Pacific Ocean. Remember, this is not flat. So this part actually leads to this other part. Between Africa, Europe, and America, we have the Atlantic Ocean. At the south, we obviously have the Southern Ocean, and in the North Pole, we have the Arctic Ocean. In this part, where India is, we have the Indian Ocean. Now let's check the one with the descriptions of the seas. And here it is. These ones don't have any connection with any sea around or any ocean around. They are completely inside. And the names of these seas are the Sea of Azov, the Caspian Sea, the Aral Sea, the Black Sea. This one has a connection with the Atlantic Ocean, and it's the Mediterranean Sea. Write your corrections in case you have any mistakes. So in general, what can we say about oceans and seas? They are all part of salty water. Some of them have no connection with the oceans and some do. Oceans are huge, big extensions of water, and they help regulate lots of things in our planet, mostly temperature, and it also have a great influence on the seasons. At the next page, we have some more study about why water, especially the oceans, are so important for our planet. In this one, we have the water cycle. You've seen this in science in Spanish. But anyways, it's really important to learn some vocabulary when it comes to English. For example, evaporation, fresh water, and salt water. Let's read this text. It says, when water flows in rivers, it picks up pieces of salt from the rocks and soil and riverbeds. What is a riverbed? This, the down part of a river. These pieces are so small that the river does not taste salty. We call it fresh water. So how do you say agua dulce in English? Fresh water. This water eventually flows into the oceans and seas. Some of the water in the sea evaporates in the sun. But the salt does not evaporate, it stays in the sea. So again, only the vapor of water goes up and forms clouds, but the salts remain here. Yes. The evaporated water with no salt in it then falls as rain back into the rivers and starts its journey back to the sea again, taking tiny bits of salt with it as it goes. Over millions and millions of years, the seawater has become salty because there is more salt in it. A smart fact here. The deepest point on Earth is the Mariana Trench in the western Pacific Ocean south of Japan and east of the Philippines. The bottom is 10,924 meters below sea level. Imagine if the Mount Everest at 8,848 meters, the highest mountain on Earth, was placed at this location, how many meters under the sea would its top be? Okay, let's do this. It's a maths problem. Can you help find the answers? Now, it's time to check our project. It says, number 2, project, research a river. Think about these questions and decide which river you want to do your project on. Would you like to find out more about a river in your own or another country? Look at a map of the country you have chosen. What rivers are there? Which is the one that interests you the most? Use the internet or library, well, right now it obviously has to be the internet, to find out more about the river you have chosen. How meters long is it? Does it join other rivers, a lake, the ocean? What wildlife is in it? What's the meaning of wildlife? Animals and plants. Does it run through cities? If so, which? What shape does it have? Write a short text about your river. Use your answers to help you. Draw a map that shows where the river runs. Add the names of the cities and other information. So, that's what you're going to do. You're going to go into the internet and find out about a river. Any river in the world is fine. But I suggest you not to do it on the River Thames because this is the example. Choose any other river in the world. You're going to do it in your art notebook, of course. And this is the example. You're going to show it on the webcam so I can check that you did it, and also you're going to read the information to your friends. Let's pay attention to the example. Here the title says the River Thames, and here we have like a map drawn by hand, and it has the names of the cities that it runs through. It has Oxford, Reading. I know that you're going to say, but teacher, it says Reading. Yes, but when it comes to the name of the city, it's Reading. It also has got Slough, London, and Southend. Okay, so here we have the title, Facts. What's the meaning of facts? Hechos. The Thames is 346 kilometers long. Its source is close to the village of, I don't understand the handwriting, in the Cotswolds. Part of the area west of London is sometimes called the Thames Valley. In the 17th and 18th century, the Thames often froze in the winter. So as you can see, it's not such a big deal. You just have to draw the map, draw the river, the cities it runs through, and some important facts about it. Okay? And you're going to show it today in the class. Let's go to the workbook. The same pages, okay? And it says underline the mistakes and correct the sentences. How are you going to know what the mistakes are? Well, you have to read the text of the student's book and workbook. Again, the same pages, 114 and 115. Let's start reading here. We have mistakes. Oceans cover about 40% of Earth's surface. They contain more than 80% of Earth's water. There are 7 oceans. The smallest is the Indian Ocean around the North Pole. The biggest is the Pacific Ocean between Asia and America. The Atlantic Ocean lies between East Africa and Europe and North and South America. The Indian Ocean borders East Europe, South Asia, West Australia, and the Arctic. Finally, there is the Southern Ocean, which is around America. So, let's find the mistakes according to the text in the student's book. Underline them. And after you finish, for example, here's a correction. Oceans cover about 40% of the Earth's surface. If we read the text in the student's book, that's false. The correct piece of information is 70% of Earth's surface. So please pause the video, compare the texts, and correct the mistakes. Here we have the corrections now. Again, oceans cover about 40% of Earth's surface. It's actually 70% of Earth's surface. They contain more than 80% of Earth's water. That's false. They contain more than 90% of Earth's water. There are 7 oceans. No, that's false. There are 5 oceans. The smallest is the Indian Ocean. That's false. The smallest is the Arctic Ocean. That is around the North Pole. Yes, the biggest is the Pacific Ocean between Asia and America. The Atlantic Ocean lies between East Africa. No, it's not East Africa. It's West Africa and Europe and North and South America. The Indian Ocean borders East Europe. No, it's East Africa. South Asia, West Australia, and the Arctic. That's false. The Arctic is in the north. It has to be Antarctica. That is in the south. Finally, there is the Southern Ocean, which is around America. Okay, so make sure that on the lines you write these corrections that I have over here in yellow. They go exactly over here. Yes, this part. Okay, so write your corrections. After that, we have some values. What can we learn about the ocean? A lot of things, trust me. In the values it says, read and answer the questions. Every day, well, the title is Keep the Oceans Clean. Every day we use plastic pens, plastic bottles, plastic bags, plastic lunch boxes, and lots of other things that are made of plastic. There is nothing wrong with plastic if we recycle it. But lots of plastic finds its way into the oceans. There's a floating island of plastic more than twice the size of France in the northern Pacific Ocean. Birds and fish eat the plastic and then they die slowly. What can we do? When you are on a boat or on the beach, don't throw things made of plastic into the water. Tell other people not to do it. Think of ways to reduce the amount of plastic that your family uses. So, after reading these, what's the message? Well, the message is clear. Reduce plastic and if you're going to use it, make sure it is recycled. Number 1 says, what should we do with things made of plastic? We should recycle them. Okay, next question. How big is the floating island of plastic in the Pacific? Here's the answer. It's more than twice the size of France. That should be the answer placed here. Next one. What happens when fish and birds eat plastic material? Here it says birds and fish eat the plastic material and then they die slowly. So this is the answer. They die slowly. What shouldn't you do when you are on a boat or on the beach? It says, when you are on a boat or on the beach, don't throw things made of plastic into the water. It's a clear and simple message. Don't throw things made of plastic into the water. And sadly, that's just everyday's story. More and more creatures in the ocean confuse plastic with food, and they die. That's what the next activity is about. It says, look at the pictures, write a story. Let's look at them closely. We have a man in a boat throwing a plastic bag. Then the flag goes here in the ocean. Then look at the fish, and then look at the end of the fish. So sad but true. So we have to finish the story. You're going to read the story to the class. It says, John was on a boat trip. So this one is John. We hate John, don't we? He finished his sandwich and threw the bag into the sea. Bad thing. So, please finish the story. At the next page, we have the process of how to obtain salt from the ocean. As we read in the student's book, the oceans contain more salt because the rivers have taken salt into the water. And then, when water evaporates, the salt is left behind in the ocean floor. It says, look at the pictures and put the sentences in order. So, this is the correct order of collecting salt from the ocean. People collect the salt. The hot sun evaporates the water. The salt remains in the basins or pools, and lots of water from the sea flows into pools that are not very deep. So, this is the correct order, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But clearly it is in this order. So let's try to find the next one. This is number 2. Look, we have the sun. So that would be here, exactly here. The hot sun evaporates the water. Number 3. Look, here we can see the salt. So it is the salt remains in the basins or pools. And obviously this one is number 4. People collect the salt. Now we have an investigation thing. It says use the internet to find the answers to these river questions. So I want you to please copy these questions in your content areas. The title is going to be Oceans, Seas and Rivers, and you're going to find this information about rivers. Number 1 says, what is the longest river in the world? Try to find how long it is, please, in kilometers. 2. Which continent has no rivers? 3. On what river did Flight 1549 land in 2009? 4. In which continent is the river Ganges? 5. What river runs through the German towns of Bonn and Cologne? 6. Which river in China is the muddiest in the world? 7. What river in the world has the most water? 8. Which American river has 4 letters S in it? Okay, so type these questions in Google and let's find out what the answers are. We're going to check them later in the class. Last but not least, remember you have to do the research about the river, your illustration, and you have to show it in the webcam, and also you have to research these last questions. And I'll see you later in a few minutes for our class. Okay, bye.